Okay, Kyle Busch coming back for a few minutes to do his Chase media availability. Kyle drives the number 18 M&M's Toyota, and with Joe Gibbs Racing, he's currently 8th in points. He's got 4 wins on the year. Kyle, just talk about your outlook coming in here this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, you know, Charlotte's one of my favorite tracks, so we're always excited about being able to get back here, kind of the home race feel with everybody being from the area and being able to sleep in their own beds come to the racetrack. So good opportunity for us to have a good weekend this weekend. You know, the M&M's Camry's been really good here in the past, and look forward to that again this weekend and being able to get back in a nationwide car as well too. So you know, be a good weekend for us.
Okay, we'll take some questions for Kyle. We've got Caitlin over to my right and Megan to my left that'll answer or bring you the wireless mics. Raise your hand if you have a question for Kyle Busch right here, and then we'll go to Nate.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Kyle, have you basically accomplished what you set out to do in the first 4 races? In other words, staying in touch with the leaders and now ready to make a move?
Certainly not. No, I'd admit that you know, we feel that we're definitely further behind than we would have wanted to be at this point. You know, I'd say that we've definitely gave up a lot of points at Chicago. We gave up a couple points at Dover and a few points at Kansas. You know, Loudon about was what we expected. So you know, certainly we wish we would have had some better runs, and if we could have had some of those points back, you know, we'd be a lot closer. But other guys would probably say the same thing. You know, Jimmie, for instance, if they had a better day at Loudon, they'd be a lot closer too. So it's all relative. It's a matter of where we are right now. We've just got to make sure that we keep fighting and keep fighting hard, and you know, not allowing discouraging runs like we've had get us down. You know, we've just got to concentrate on what comes next week and be able to attack it and get what we can get out of that week.
Go ahead, Nate.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Kyle, you mentioned discouraging. It's the second time you've come into the chase, and I know this hasn't been quite the way it was in 08, but second time you've got off to a rough start. Is that?
It's not the second time. It's every time.
That was kind of the rest of my point. Second time is the top seed, but could you address that? I mean, why again, and how frustrating is that for you?
Trust me, if I knew, I'd love to fix it. I have no idea. You know, years past we may have had wrecks or you know, mechanical failures or something to that respect, but you know, this year it's just been it's not anything in particular. It's just we're not finishing where we've been running. You know, fuel issue obviously at Chicago, not being the best, me not being the best, and the car not being the best at Loudon. Dover, we kind of missed it on the last run, and Kansas, we kind of got back in traffic a little bit when we came for 2 tires when some other guys stayed because they could make it the rest of the way. So yeah, it's just been little things, but certainly little things can take you out of the running. So it has been every single season I've been in the chase that this stuff's happened. It's just that we're still able to fight, you know, and come back from where we are. You know, years past we would have been knocked out by now. So at least we still have a fighting shot.
Do you feel like the pit stop problem has been corrected in Chicago?
You know, we did have some pit stop issues at Chicago, but you know, we haven't, knock on wood, we haven't had any here the past few races. So yeah, the guys have really worked hard and have dug in deep, and you know, they've been able to pump out some pretty good stops recently. So we've been fine the last 3 races.
Other questions for Kyle? Go ahead, Lee.
Lee Spencer, Fox Sports. Denny said last weekend that they're going to start making radical changes with the 11. You try to search for a feel that he's looking for. Have you had that same, not really confusion, but have you had that same kind of, I know it's out there, I know we can get there, but it's just not there, you know, with the cars, the engines, what have you, and, you know, are you still trying to find that 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 that you're looking for as well with the Gibbs cars?
Certainly. You know, there was a point earlier this year about summertime, you know, with Kentucky and Michigan. We were class of the field those days, you know, certainly really, really good. We haven't had cars like that the last few weeks, you know, and whether that's me not getting the right information to Dave or just us not being able to have the perfect setup, you know, it takes so much to get everything exactly right. I mean, Jimmie Johnson last week was a class of his own. I mean, he was gone. You know, looked like the rest of us were nationwide cars, but you know, that's the car that you look for. That's what you try to hit on when you're in the chase, and we're working on it. You know, there's not really one particular area that you can pinpoint and say that's the reason why we're not running the way we want to be running. It's just it's a few things, you know, whether it's bodies or engines or not having the right setup, pit strategy, having the guys on pit road having their head in the game, you know, all that stuff. The driver having his head in the game, you know, it's certainly you've got to hit it all on a perfect day, and we haven't had that yet. I'm not saying we couldn't have it here in Charlotte. I'd certainly love to have it the next 4 weeks, you know, and all of a sudden be the one everybody's worried about. But we'll play it 1 week by a time.
Given the change with the engines for next season, do you think that the emphasis is perhaps switched since they're going to be working on EFI and that maybe your engines just aren't progressing at that same level as everybody else because everybody else in programs in-house, or at least, you know, it's there?
Yeah, you know, that's a fair question, but honestly, I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't know whether JGR's changed anything. I don't believe they have. I would still assume that they've still poured in the same amount of resources and energy into finishing out this year and winning a championship, having the shot that we do. So I don't think that has, you know, Mark and his guys are all still there. Everybody's still in the same spots. There's nothing different. Just next year we will be transitioning over to Costa Mesa stuff, but Costa Mesa is doing all the research and development for the EFI, so essentially it's making our jobs easier because we have an in-house engine shop where we're still working on this year's stuff, not worried about EFI because somebody else is taking care of that, where other teams, they're doing both. So, you know, I don't feel like anything's changed.
Let's go with Don, and then we'll go back to Viv. Go ahead, Don.
Kyle, Don Coble with Morris News Service. With the changes, some of them, I don't know how big they actually are. For Talladega next week, do you really expect anything to be different there?
No, I don't expect anything much different. You know, they've changed some of the cooling things again. They've changed the pop-off valve again, radiator size, I think, too. Or that's next year's change, I don't know. But they've, with the restrictor plate change as well, too. So there's certainly some things they're trying to do to separate us and get us apart from each other, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that one bit. I actually like it. But as far as next week goes, are we going to see much different of a race? Probably not. Maybe just a little bit more swapping between cars. That's it.
And as a follow-up to that, is there anything that can be done at Talladega to calm things down just a little bit? I mean, is that even possible?
To what do you want to calm down?
I mean, how tight everybody is. And
to get rid of the push draft?
Yes.
Yeah, you can get rid of the push draft. You can misalign the noses like we were before we went to the new car. You know, so it's almost a step back in history again. That's all I can think of. You know, certainly there's aspects as to why we have the cars the way we have them now, and with the grip level we have and the tires and everything and the tracks just being resurfaced, it gives us the opportunity to push. But you know, unless they misalign the noses where we can't push it, I don't see it changing.
Go ahead, Viv.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times. You know, 20 points back is not out of it, but when you see Jimmie Johnson, you know, have his run again, is there any ominous sense of here we go again among the other guys?
I bet so, certainly. You know, he's not leading it yet, but he's right up there within contention now. He's in striking distance. You know, we're not in striking distance, but we need to be by Homestead. If we can have a shot at it come Homestead, then obviously we'll have a shot. But you know, we've definitely just, like I said before, we've definitely just got to make sure that we can continue to have good runs, strong runs, and get ourselves in position to get finishes we deserve, or finishes that where we're running during the event, and that'll help us come Homestead.
Final question back in the middle, and then he's got to leave. Go ahead.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Can you talk about qualifying today, how important it is, and what it's like to qualify at this track?
Yeah, I mean, qualifying's important. You know, it is 500 laps here, and there is strategies. There's sometimes 2 tires, no tires, and all that, so it can always change up. But you know, you still like to get good pit selection. You'd like to be able to pick where you want to, and try to pick somewhere where you might get a guy that you know will go a lap down to pick around you, so then you have a clean in or a clean out or both. And so you'd like to qualify up front. Keeps you out of, well, you'd like to think it keeps you out of trouble. But you know, obviously 500 miles is still a long day, so it's not the end of the world.
Kyle, thanks a lot, and good luck this weekend here at Charlotte,
Thanks, guys.
okay?